Bila nanti sampai detiknya, pastikan hilang kata-kata, bagai jatuh pandangan mata, mengukur jarak sementara. Bila nanti sampai detiknya, pastikan hilang kata-kata, bagai jatuh pandangan mata.
Pengalaman saya dalam Rapatseni 2019 kemarin tidak terlalu banyak lakonan, cuma dia merupakan monolog atau sebagai seorang pencerita tentang tentang seorang penulis yang mana watak itu dilakukan oleh pelakon muda, dua orang pelakon muda yang sebenarnya berlakon. Saya cuma monolog, tapi apa yang menarik ialah adanya interaksi antara pencerita dengan pelakon yang membawakan watak, kemudian diselang-selingkan dengan puisi, bacaan puisi, perkembangan dan lagu-lagu. Saya rasa satu pengalaman yang boleh saya anggap menjurus ke arah satu persembahan yang bercorak musikal, walaupun dia tak sepenuhnya musikal. Dan itu pengalaman yang saya rasa jarang saya dapat dan sesuatu yang baru.
I felt excited during the process, and then after the entire presentation pun aku rasa Actually, quite satisfied lah because of how the lights and the actors' performance as well with the musician, they all came together, and then it was relayed nicely for me lah as a director. From how I perceived the script, it was relayed as how I imagined and how I envisioned it lah. And of course, there were some things here and there that wasn't quite go as planned, but with the expertise of the actors and the even the chorus players and the poets, they managed to pull off a convincing performance which relayed the message entirely.
Honestly, that show was like I would say very cool lah, because it's like kind of different environment and different kind of vibe when I perform in Ike Barat, and also engaging with the actors and the actress kat dalam scene tu was very good experience for me lah.
Emotional because most of the song, the storyline really do affect me somehow. So yeah, I quite feel emotional, and the song is awesome.
The performance itself is good. Also like to thank Akmal who invited me to join as one of the musicians. It's something new. I never did a production or performance while they are acting and then we are creating the music. I think it's always, well, it's not the first time. I did that in the Esplanade, but it was facing an audience. But this time facing the audience from a top view, so it's different. It's a different concept. But it's something new, but it's interesting and fun.
Okay, to be honest, I feel kind of like surprised lah, because I thought it was just a DK Barat thing, and DK Barat was the only performance that I have to perform. But then there was like stage movements also that I need to do. So like I feel kind of shocked and surprised, because it was like the first time for me to perform. So I feel like it's a very complicated theatre to pull off, for like to deliver such like with the messages lah. Then I'm surprised that someone that can do it lah. Like I'm very amazed that people can actually deliver, and I think they must understand the message behind their performance.
I really feel a unique kind of experience. It's a unique experience for me. It's because of how Rapatseni 2019 was staged. Because through my experience as a musician, we normally perform on stage or probably backstage in terms of supporting for theatre-like setup. So this, I believe, is also this is definitely a theatre-like setup. But what makes it more unique is actually, in fact, of the space, the ambience of the environment. It's a parliament, right? It used to be a parliament house, right? So that creates the X factor to make it a lot more unique. And on top of the lightings, the technical aspects and all, it really gives a very unique impact for audience and of course myself as a performer.
It was a really fun experience for me because I only started doing performing arts in 2018, and being in a theatre show was really like very new to me, and I get goosebumps about it every time I think about it. Yeah.
I feel like it was a very good experience because it was just my second time taking part in another theatre show. But the difference is for Rapatseni, there's contemporary movements for us. It's not just Tiki Barat. So it was a different kind of experience for me.
It felt like a very different experience because being part of theatre before, it's always on the stage, and we had the chance to perform in the old Parliament House. So the setting was very different. It was very like personal and like intimate with the audience. So that was very new and very refreshing.
Yeah, it's a good experience for me because I managed to meet new people and get to learn more about how does Rapatseni works, like macam lagu dengan lakon combine together. That belajar with Rafa Hamzah because he's the one yang dah lama experience with this Rapatseni, and so get to work together with DK Barat, together with Abang Akmal, everything. Then buat music, everything. It's really fun lah.
Firstly, I felt very honored to be part of the talents to be performing for them at the Old Parliament House because it's actually my first time performing there, and it's quite a honorable place back then. So to be performing there in front of the large crowd and with my fellow friends, I think it was very fun, to be honest.
Nadia dengan seni okey. Jangan macam ni. Kan saya beritahu awak saya memang nak buat kerja ni. 3 bulan lalu saya bilang awak kan. Kemarin tu awak kata okey je.
Kemarin awak bilang saya tu, saya ingat awak tak serius. Tahu-tahu je awak dah berhenti kerja.
Nadia, awak tahu kan saya dah fikir masak-masak. Saya tak pernah buat benda tak fikir betul-betul. Semalam saya dah tender pun. Saya dah buat benda tu full time, dah tak setengah masak lagi dah.
Awak ni memang merepek ah. Lagi 6 bulan tau kita nak kahwin. Awak cakap awak dah cukup saving. Alah. Awak punya side semua dah settle. Awak tak fikir betul-betul ke ni?
Nadia, I know what I'm doing, okay? Tolonglah, kasi saya support sikit boleh tak?
Dah lah, saya dah tak tahu apa lagi nak cakap dengan awak lah. Awak dah gerik sangat kan dengan kawan-kawan awak tu semua? Buat performance konon. Berapa duit awak buat performance tu? Boleh kasih saya makan ke nanti? Boleh beli rumah? Dah lah, saya nak balik lah.
Nadia.
For me, honestly, working with Rapat Hamzah, initially the first phase was very intimidating. Apart from the fact that he's a wonderful actor, he's also a director himself. So the challenge for me is to find a way on how to get across to him without being overstepping on his experience, and thankfully he was really pleasant and nice to work with. He helped a lot. I think for me the entire good thing about this whole thing is it's not just about me directing them. It's also a learning process. I learn from them as well as the other way around. And then when it comes to the younger actor, also I learn new things about them as well, as much as I've directed them before. Apart from Rafa'an, aku tak pernah direct dia. Tapi bila aku direct the other two young actors, right, I learn newer things from them, like stuff that I wouldn't know that they can do for me. Because usually when I direct them, it's usually on my script, but this is on someone else's script, so it gives me a total different perspective as a director. So the challenge is actually trying to bridge the differences between the actors, the experience and the not so experienced, because I don't want to make it seem like Rafat Hamzah is carrying the show alone, so they have to pull on their weight, and of course enhancement of light help the delivery on emotion.
Bagi saya ialah bagaimana untuk menyampaikan cerita atau narasi saya dan yang berkesan untuk dibawakan oleh pelakon yang diorang ni. Kerana kalau apa yang saya ceritakan tidak dapat dihidupkan dengan dua-dua pelakon ni agak longgar, dan cabaran ialah untuk mereka mengerti atau memahami cerita yang saya sampaikan sebelum mereka melakukan watak itu. Dan sebagai seorang pelakon yang senior, saya rasa tanggungjawab itu jatuh pada saya, kerana saya rasa tidak puas kalau saya bercerita kemudian yang membawakan watak itu tidak berjaya untuk menghidupkannya. Dan saya rasa bukan soal saya sendiri, Kerana kalau untuk kepuasan saya sendiri, saya rasa saya buat kerja saya dan membiarkan mereka berdua, saya rasa itu agak kurang adil. Jadi secara automatik saya jadi seorang mentor pada pelakon ni untuk mereka hidupkan watak, kerana saya rasa walaupun
sampai detiknya pastikan hilang kata-kata bagai jatuh pandangan mata.
persembahan yang kita nampak compact yang ini bukan persembahan yang berpisah. Dan kalau mereka tidak berjaya, ciptaan saya juga tidak berjaya. Dan itu cabaran saya, kerana kita tidak punya banyak waktu untuk latihan bersama. Mereka berlatih sendiri, saya berlatih sendiri, kemudian kita jumpa ada benda yang terkena. Saya rasa itu dalam masa yang singkat adalah cabaran yang agak berat, macam mana untuk menyatukan dua cerita yang dilakukan cara berpisah. Dan akhirnya saya rasa dalam jangka masa pendek tu, cabaran tu dapat kita sama-sama, saya dan pelakon yang baru. Saya rasa akhirnya dia menjadi satu benda yang agak unik, kerana tidak mudah buat dia macam tu dalam masa yang singkat. So, satu kebaikan yang saya rasa dapat saya berikan juga lah.
The challenge that I faced for the whole performance is actually honestly guiding each other to find the right tone and all the execution that we are supposed to give lah. So that is most likely the most challenging one. The rest is quite simple and okay.
Challenges, yes. Sound-wise, feedback. There's delay of because of it's an indoor kind of thing. So there always definitely there's feedback and delay of sound. So whatever when they're singing, what we hear is different. So when we want to play our instruments, it's a bit difficult. But we did manage to solve the problem.
Challenges would be, like I say, it's just my second time, so the contemporary movement was something really different for me to adapt to. So I'm not really used to walking while we sing, and then like it's very slow and it's a new song, so we really have to adapt to the changes. It's just not normal Dikir Barat.
When we have to combine Dikir Barat song and with our music, we have to mash up together to create a good music. So yeah, that's one of the challenge, to create a nice balanced music for Dikir Barat and our side.
I was actually really scared. I really I cock up somewhere, but putting that behind, I was just like, okay, you know what, let's just have fun lah. So I just interacted with the audience, and alhamdulillah, everything went well. Yeah. The challenges firstly was to try to figure out the spacing because it was very narrow, and it helped that we had the plotting and blocking and everything. But to the challenges was mainly the spacing. Other than that, it was I took it like a good challenge.
As a drummer musician during this theatre, the difficulty that I face is actually more of a complication. But not quite, because probably it's because how we were staggered during the setup, during our positioning on set, because this also adds on to the uniqueness, because instead of facing the audience, we are actually in a point of the audience view.
It was encouraging, very encouraging, and a lot of what's that? Constructive feedback was given, and from there I could improve myself on the spot and like in the long run also. So that was very nice of them to be working with us and give us constructive feedback.
Okay. It's actually my first time reading the poems. Take my time and understand the meaning of each sentence. Each word is actually very important, and it's also written by Hamid Ismail. I guess it's I feel like it's my responsibility to actually portray the meaning well.
Challenges dia to get dia punya watak lah. Because at first bila baca skrip tak faham sangat. After the guidance from Hidayat Nordin and from Abang Amal, after that from Cik Hamzah, pelan-pelan dapat tahu lah how about this the guy named Adam ni, about himself.
Hidup usia remaja haruslah waspada dari hela tipu daya. Dunia penuh pancaroba, jangan mudah dikau tergoda. Hidup usia remaja haruslah waspada dari hela tipu daya. Dunia penuh pancaroba, jangan mudah dikau tergoda. Di usia remaja hati sungguh gembira, semuanya indah manis belaka. Awaslah dirimu sedari manisnya, mungkin mengandungi racun yang berbisa. Hidup usia remaja haruslah waspada dari hela tipu daya. Dunia penuh pancaroba, jangan mudah dikau tergoda.
Bagi aku undangan ni satu undangan yang baik lah kan, kerana ia menggabungkan ramai seniman dalam satu projek yang datangnya dari latar belakang yang berbeza-beza. Kita ada latar belakang seni muzik, latar belakang seni teater dan juga seni penulisan digabungkan dalam projek Rapatseni lah. Maknanya seni yang berbeza dirapatkan. Itu satu gabungan yang cantik kata orang. Bagi aku sebagai seorang dramaturg kerja aku kan kacukan seni-seni yang berbeza ni dalam satu pentas. Tak kira lah pentas yang macam mana sebenarnya bagi aku. Yang pentingnya kreativiti kita bila kita menyampaikan. Pentas yang kosong pun boleh jadi sesuatu yang indah kalau kita pandai gunakan approach dia, cara kita tampilkan persembahan tu. Bagi aku itu yang lebih utama. Tempat dia kan satu karakter yang lain kan. Kalau tempat dia punya karakter dia jadi lain. Tapi kita boleh ubah tempat dengan set mungkin ataupun dengan dekorasi mungkin kan. Lagi tanggungjawab dramaturg tu dia memberi laluan untuk karya-karya tu berkembang. Bagi aku, kalau aku jadi dramaturg, aku tak sekat dan aku nak karya tu dia makin berkembang dan dia bertantung dengan karya-karya lain. Bagi saya, kalau kita cakap gabungan puisi, muzik, teater ni, dia sebenarnya bukan perkara baru. Kan, dalam Nusantara ni sendiri sudah dilakukan, sudah ada kan, Indonesia. Contohnya daripada zaman penulis mapan Indonesia, persembahan puisi dan teater tu selalu sangat digabungkan. W.S. Hendra punya pementasan selalunya begitu kan. Dan ini bukan satu yang baru, cuma mungkin cita rasa orang Singapura berbeza, cita rasa Malaysia berbeza. Jadi kita lebih tahu apa yang kita nak makan kan, dan kita lebih tahu apa yang kita nak hidangkan.
Performing a poetry act and also engaging with DK Barat and other like bands is very cool for me. Like I don't mind putting 100% for this kind of thingy because it's gonna be a very different experience and also cool lah. I would say aesthetically cool lah. Like very different vibe.
I'm actually very amazed and surprised how this show was being put off because it's a lot of things being combined into one, and to carry out the message is very difficult. But the poetry and the DK Barat aspects falls perfectly throughout the show, and whenever the DK Barat aspect is being brought in or whenever the poetry is being brought in is at the right time where the cast take a break, the main cast take a break. So I think that's a very good part to pull out the message to the audience.
Previously, I think we did something similar also, so it's not actually very new to me. So back when I was in theatre, I also did acting, but at the same time we did have like singing and also a bit of DK Barat. So this Rapatseni is actually more of like a continuation from what I did back then. I think generally music is for everyone, even for the younger generation, but poem especially, it's not really out there. So when we actually incorporate all this music and poems, I think it's a really good way to reach out to the younger audience. Yeah.
Well, it's something macam a competition of everything lah. Pasal kita belajar everything. Bukan sekadar macam DK Barat, dia more on apa music and nyanyian. Dan after that macam lagu, just lagu, music. For theatre, everything is combined. Good thing for this Rapatseni is a combined element. DK Barat pun music, tapi ada lagu-lagu, drama, everything, dengan lakon like the theatre. So it's a full complete package lah.
Kau pun masih berkata lagi, seperti aku yang masih menjilat luka. Dari mabuk cinta yang kehilangan seorang Laila. Lihatlah, anjing yang berkeliaran di rasuk malam. Sihir angin yang tidak menunjukkan wajah. Apa gunanya Kau menyamar seperti puaka. Selagi mentari tidak membakar nista dan sumpah, dan bulan tidak berpesan rindu dan gundah. Waktu dan hari, aku.
Pen. Mana orang pakai pen lagi sekarang? Semua pakai handphone, laptop, tab, touchscreen, tab, virtual. Pen pun orang dah tak pandang lagi. Kecuali bila nak kena sign. Sign tu dapat check, sign tu ambil loan, sign report. Mesti ada sebab kenapa manusia dah tak gunakan pen lagi. Sebab pen ni foto sebenarnya. Budak-budak banyak gelunting. Kadang-kadang dalam meeting pun gelunting. Tak dengar apa yang bos merepek. Tapi dalam tangan orang-orang pandai, pen ni boleh jadi bahaya. Boleh cucuk orang, boleh buat tulis surat, boleh dapat macam-macam benda. Dalam tangan orang-orang pandai dulu-dulu, pen ni boleh buat agreement, pecah belahkan budaya. Mana Inggeris, mana Belanda. Boleh sampaikan propaganda negara, boleh jadi macam-macam benda. Tak semua orang yang betul-betul pandai gunakan. Sama juga, tak semua orang yang pandai gunakan keyboard. Tengok je lah Facebook. Baca komen diorang aja kau dah tahu diorang tu pandai ke bengap. Yang gunakan handphone lagi jangan apa. Handphone, smartphone. Yang tak smart, orang. Sekarang macam tu orang masih kahwin ni tidak.
Bagi aku dari apa yang kau dapat kita ada penulis dan kita ada karakter dalam penulisan tu, maknanya dia ada unsur teater tu. Aku suka buat benda macam ni kan, benda yang kata orang tu mungkin a bit of avant-garde, mungkin cara permainan dia berbeza kan, tak lari daripada tradisi tapi kita untuk keluarkan sesuatu yang menarik kan. Seni tu kalau kita tak ada penarikan dia, tak mengikut peredaran zaman, lama-lama generasi baru ni sekarang akan apa? Akan tak interested lah. Tak nak ambil tahu, dan itu tanggungjawab seniman. Ataupun tanggungjawab bagi aku kali ni sebagai dramaturg, itu tanggungjawab aku untuk tarik anak-anak muda ni untuk dapat perhatian ataupun dapat lahirkan minat daripada menonton Rapatseni.
Bagi saya, distinct version ni menarik kerana dia tidak lagi jadi satu persembahan live yang mana kita berkumpul, kemudian kita bekerja, berkarya dengan berpisah, kemudian kita berkumpul, kemudian bila kita latihan bersama, kemudian kita buatkan satu karya yang memang dihasilkan untuk buat persembahan live. Dan apa yang menarik untuk yang ini saya rasa ialah kita terpaksa berpisah dan kita boleh saja ambil sebagai persembahan 2019 Rapatseni 2019 itu sebagai rangka. Kemudian secara individu masing-masing, pelakon baik, director, fikir barat dan muzik, saya rasa kita harus dan deklamasi yang lain, kita harus bekerja berpisah-pisah dan cuba menghasilkan sesuatu yang baru atas rangka yang lama. Dan saya rasa ini peluang yang baik kerana bukan saja kita buat persembahan live, tapi kerana kita ada media yang baru, media yang video dan audio recording and all that. Saya rasa this element harus difikirkan, harus diambil kira, bukan setakat kita meletakkan kamera di depan dan buat apa yang kita buat. Kerana kamera adalah media yang satu alat yang boleh dimanipulasi, dipermainkan dan boleh mendatangkan kreativiti baru. Dan saya berharap Rapatseni 2019 walaupun karya ini karya kita dipentaskan, dan kalau kita tayangkan semula dalam format digital, saya rasa harus menjadikan satu karya yang lebih menarik dan lebih ada perkembangan daripada berbeza dengan Rapatseni 2019.
Originally the script, I believe it's more of a luahan of an inner conversation, and the protagonist and antagonist perspective of the storytelling comes from the juxtapose of apart from the Rafat Hamzah's role. Kalau kita ada, if there's an antagonist and then there's a younger contrasting character to Rafat Hamzah's role, I genuinely believe that the story can be more captivating in a sense that it's more complete. It becomes more complete so that the idea of antagonism won't be forced into the direction. I think having an antagonist is really important for Rafat's role in the play. Sebab he is playing a writer, right? So apart from fighting his own emotion, he needs to find other triggers apart from situation. So I think that can add another level of dimension of interaction and contrast.
To touch on how it ended the other day, it was nice because it actually showed how it highlighted how we were both puppets inside a poem, and also that really, like, for people who can't really understand what the poem and all is, then it's a good way for them to understand that we are just characters in a short story. So if it were to have an ending, that thing that was highlighted could get lost.
Now it's COVID and so dapat, so maybe platform for this macam social media mungkin is the best platform for them to macam spread to other people. Okay, macam cerita ni about what, cerita ni about what, and understand the storyline. And also this cerita pun I think it's more on, it's a real life story lah, which I think like outside people yang like this Adam ni dia penulis lagu and everything, I think certain people will understand about this story lah.
With the uniqueness of the instrument, shall I say, that I'm using is this digital drum pad. It's also a sampling pad. So it have the ability to actually store a pre-recorded mix, pre-recorded effects, or probably So with the help of that, probably this could actually help a lot in terms of adding a lot of new sounds, new unique sounds that we might not be able to do it previously, or maybe might not have thought of it. So I think over this year spent after the whole production last year, I believe there's a lot more that we can do. We can have a lot of more effects, more drastic effects, or to add on to the vibe, to the ambience, for the theatrical aspect, so that the audience will have a better experience.
We can try. What we did was at a certain part of the show, there is like a story, there's certain sound effects and everything. Then we can play with percussion. Maybe they walk also, we got sounds. We can play more with electronic music, stuff where we cannot get it from our normal instruments. We can get it from our computer or whatever lah. All the new stuff going on. I think it will be a different atmosphere lah. This is for the audience, so then the audience will feel more engaged to the story.
Kalau untuk tambah satu atau dua karakter lagi, saya rasa mungkin possibility is saya sebagai narrator yang menceritakan pergolakan jiwa penulis yang lelaki, dan kemudian kalau ditambah dengan karakter yang satu, mungkin saya rasa ada keperluan atau ada baiknya karakter wanita yang menceritakan pergolakan jiwa dia dari sudut watak perempuan. So this is the two couple when bila dialog is there. Sebab kita dengar apa yang dia katakan, dia luahkan secara lahiriah. Dan apa yang kita tak dengar adalah karakter lelaki, segala permasalahan dia dan persoalan dia, dan karakter perempuan dan permasalahan dan persoalan dia yang dihadapi. Jadi kalau kita tambah lagi satu karakter, female character have to be representing one of them. So kita nampak dialog-dialog yang bertemu as one act, dan dialog-dialog yang tak bertemu dalam this writer, female writer berbual dengan diri sendiri, and the girlfriend, the writer's girlfriend yang ada perbualan dia sendiri. So I think that they can now kita boleh kembangkan ada dua narrator dari sudut yang berbeza. Mungkin ada punya yang sama, mungkin ada punya yang selari, mungkin ada punya yang bercanggah. Dan itu kita cuma nampak daripada dua aktor yang I think they will be interesting.
But now if it's on a stage, on a normal stage, there will be a challenge, but I don't think it is that much of a big difference when it comes to being a director. Because at the end of the day, when I want to direct a play, I always put the space first in mind, and where the audience are seated, and to ensure that all the actors can deliver their lines to every single one of the audience. Kalau nak cakap about how different I would do it, I believe on a flat stage, the emotion have to be more. The technicalities, apart from all the technicalities of actors' performance, lights, leveling, the basics can actually is enough to enhance the presentation beyond the novelty of spaces. Sebab kalau if you ask me, the content is strong enough, the presentation is awesome, the actors are really good, and the feel is there. So regardless whether it's in a level of spaces ataupun a flat spaces, it can still be relayed. Of course, the challenge comes in the actors lah. For the actors, how they want to express with minimal movement, that kind of thing. Yeah.
I think we can play around with depending on where is it, I think we can play around with the space even more, because for the location that we were at, for DK Barat aspect, we play around the space a lot. So I think if we have a bigger space, we can reach out to the audience more and interact with them.
It was a good way to portray the Malay elements inside, and because of the poetry, the Malay poetry in it, and DK Barat, it was okay lah. I don't want to change the performance.
Malu aku dengan kata-kata, malu aku dengan kata-kata. Bila yang ada hanya makna, bila yang ada hanya makna, tanpa tujuan dan maksudnya, tanpa tujuan dan maksudnya. Malu aku dengan kata-kata, malu aku dengan kata-kata. Malu aku dengan kata-kata, malu aku dengan kata-kata. Bila penulis asyik mengeja, bila penulis asyik mengeja, gairah kamus hayal bahasa, gairah kamus hayal bahasa. Malu aku dengan kata-kata, malu aku dengan kata-kata.
Begitulah nasib pengembara yang murah hati. Tak kala air mata jatuh mengalir basah tinggi mimpi, Kadang tak ketemu juga. Janji di celah-celah awak, bercabang arah di jalan kenangan dan di kubur. Basah tubuh badan, dipanggang mentari telanjang. Lalu mahligai harapanmu tak tertinggal pun.
Begitulah perjalanan hidupnya. Kaya dan papa bukan harga. Jaya dan gagal bukan soalnya. Sanjung dan hina bukan nilainya. Sayang dan benci bukan taranya. Bahunya perjalanan mencari makna. Mengutip sang bagi manusia. Mengumpul sampah sarap dunia. Mencipta cinta dan cinta. Memahankannya atas namanya. Bisa seni